Good morning. All right. I wanted to talk about temple parties because we're going to have a couple of temple parties this Friday and Saturday night in Las Vegas. And I went out to a swingers event last weekend, a couple days ago. And also, different hangouts, different gatherings. And I just wanted to talk about what the difference is for me and a lot of people of going to a temple party versus going to these other events where, people are open-minded. There may or may not be sexual play, that may or may not be the focus. All right. So the number one thing I love about the temple party is the agreements and the rules, like the container. That's what it's called. Is like when you set the appropriate etiquette of how to act and interact, and it's done right at the top of the event. And there's a time when everyone is supposed to show up by, and the door is closed because then no late arrivals are allowed. And so everyone can go through the agreements together and make that social agreement. And it's like creating this safer container of people who are all on the same page. And that's really good because especially, let's say you're new and you really don't know how to operate in these spaces. Well, this answers all those questions. If you're not new, it reminds you of how to operate in this space and also explains the difference between other unstructured spaces. So I would say most swingers events are quite unstructured, and also hangout events are unstructured, meaning, you're kind of up to fend for yourself. Like there's a thing, of course, there could be signs on the wall, no means no, and that's usually about it. Maybe there's a sign that says no solicitation, that could be there. But that's it. Otherwise, it's up to each individual to behave how they want to behave. Now, there is etiquette in the community, but not everyone knows it and not everyone follows it. So it's really interesting because when I went to this swinger event on Saturday night, it was very interesting, and there was a gentleman there, and I don't know if he's going to be watching this, but he recognized me from my Facebook Lives, which is great. I do Facebook Lives all the time, and I am promoting myself as a coach, which, by the way, if I help you and you get something out of what I share, then maybe you should book a free call with me to see how I could help you individually. But anyways, he said he'd been watching my videos, and that was fine. We were out, my date and I, we had arrived to the party pretty much right after it started. It started at 9, we got there at 9:30. The music was too loud in the house for me. I have sensory sensitivities, especially to noise or sound. And so anyways, we were sitting on the porch, and this guy and his wife come out, and he's like, "You're that girl from Facebook. I recognize you." And everything was cool. We joked about it. We had some banter back and forth. Cool. But then it was like, once I'm outed as sex coach Nikki, now it's like I have to communicate with people a lot more about consent, because it might not seem this way if you're just meeting me on the go, but it's like there is a potential power dynamic change when someone is introduced as a professional. It's like, oh, now their career is brought into it. And it was like, I don't know if, I've been trying to think back to what was actually said, and I just know if he didn't outright say it, he alluded several times to me being sex coach Nikki. And, it was frustrating because I was like, great, now these people, as people start, they kept coming out onto the porch. And I was like, okay, now these people know. And it's like, okay. So one of the etiquettes in the swinger community is that you don't out people for, their day job or, what they do outside of the lifestyle. And that's what keeps a lot of people from going to events like this. What's awesome about the temple party is they go over the rules, and one of the rules is,
do you know where I can find the leasing office?
In the front, so go straight and on the right, take a right and on the right. I think it's fucking hilarious. So anyways, one of the rules is to keep people's anonymity. Woo! To not tell people who the people there are, because it's just like, it's not your place to tell them. And so, I don't know, maybe I'm not taking it personally or make it mean necessarily something bad about him personally. It's just that if you have a public personality, then you don't want that brought into the play space necessarily. Now, of course, at the temple party, I'm one of the promoters for the event. Everybody there knows who I am, and that's fine. I deal with that. That's part of the being here. That's why I like to go to other events where I'm not the promoter, so I can just play as one of the group of randos. How about that? And there is a thing about being able to have variety and be with new people and strangers and things like that. Anyways, the other thing about the temple party versus the other events is that all of you is welcome there, and it's explicitly stated. So I've had people say that they're hesitant to come to one of these temple parties because they don't know how they're going to react. They don't know if they're just going to want to sit there, or if they're going to have some kind of a weird reaction. They don't know if they'll get in a fight with their partner. And I tell them, like, that part of the etiquette of the temple party is that all of you is welcome. And because there are actually facilitators there, it's the perfect space to have that kind of experience. Because let's say you are with your partner and something does rub you the wrong way, and you have an argument. Well, there's freaking trained facilitators there to help you navigate that in real time. You're not just going to be asked to leave. So, whereas at a regular swingers party, you'd almost definitely be asked to leave if you're arguing, and at a hangout, you'll get support usually, not necessarily asked to leave. So the biggest difference though that I like about well, I don't know if it's the biggest, but another difference between like the hangout and the temple party is that for the temple party, most people have a motive for being there. They want to experience something specific for them. They might not know what it is, but they are going there for an experience. Whereas at the hangout parties, it's like this big question mark. Is erotic play going to happen, or is it not? Is it allowed? Is it appropriate? A lot of these places, yes, it is allowed, but is it appropriate? That's like a whole nother question. What's the etiquette? How far can we go? How intense can we be? Whereas at the temple party, you are encouraged to be what you want to be. If you are an exhibitionist, be that exhibitionist. If you are a voyeur, be the voyeur, and just own it. You know, you're allowed to be that. They call it the sacred voyeur. So it's very clear as to what kind of behavior is allowed and is not allowed. And I love that clarity. I love being held that way, you know. So I have definitely more than once been to a get-together where play was allowed, and the people there were either I knew there were swingers, I knew there were kinksters, and then me and my partner would start playing, and then all of a sudden the whole room clears out. Like, people are giving us privacy to play, and by play I mean, you know, doing sexual erotic activity, but then they all clear out. Like, they want to give us privacy and be polite, and it's just like, no, we're doing this here on purpose because we're exhibitionists. So, you know, it's like, okay, I guess that was out of the preferred etiquette. So I like that at temple parties, it's usually people stay. You could be playing and they'll stay and watch your exhibition and keep on having their own experience, whether they're just talking or whatever. So those are my top reasons and differences between all those events. Let me know if you're interested, if you have any questions. There is space for more people. There's plenty of people coming, and there's space for more. So it's more fun when there's more people, because the compression of more people doing things in the same space feels pretty fucking good. All right, I'm gonna finish my walk now. I hope you have a fabulous, sexy day.